The other thing I did last night was I watched Llamageddon on Sarah Sang's channel, which is a movie about a killer llama. And it's so bad I don't even know where to start. Like it's basically they deliberately mess with the continuity. Like there is a guy, one of the protagonists deliberately has a shirt change in every single scene.
Wow. I was just thinking then that the llama ties someone up, and then when they're like, let me go, he's like, hey, no struggly.
I mean, might as well, you know. Like there's a scene where well, there's several scenes actually of llamas like hoofing people to death. It's actually quite funny, but like because it's so ridiculously bad, you know.
Mm.
And there's also like an entire scene of it's like it's a bit Black Sheep like, you know. They copped a lot of things from Black Sheep. I feel, you know, in the whole there's also a guy who slowly turns into a llama.
Mm.
And there's an entire scene of him laying fucking llama eggs in a barn. Llamas don't even lay eggs, you know. It's ridiculous.
The only two mammals, and this is a fun fact for people who don't know, the only two mammals that lay eggs are platypuses
Platypus.
and echidnas.
Oh, echidnas. What are echidnas again?
Spawn of Satan, I think. No, they're like very weird disfigured hedgehogs. Like you think of Knuckles and the echidna from Sonic and what he's based on, and you just couldn't put the two together.
Yeah. Murray, man, that Emperor's New Groove sequel took a turn.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. No struggly. Yeah.
I love it.
Joke's not as effective.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, actually.
I was watching it with Katie the other day. It's
Disney, right? Emperor's New Groove.
It's brilliant. I just love the scene when Kronk is doing that stealth move to dispose of
Patrick Warburton. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter. Yeah. I really should probably make more use of Disney Plus. Actually, you know, I haven't really had to go to. I was waiting for Tailspin. Do you remember Tailspin?
Rings a bell, but I haven't.
It's basically the characters of the Jungle Book, but it's like about them being like air pirates. It's really, really cool series. You know, if you like DuckTales and shit like that, it's probably be up your street.
Yeah, currently, like what I'm making use of Apple TV for Servant, which stars Rupert Grint as one of the main leads, and it's an M. Night Shyamalan flick. But my God, is it so psychological? It messes my brain up.
M. Night Shyamalan is an interesting one with him because he's very hit and miss as a director. You know,
he's had what you mean
for every Sixth Sense, which is brilliant, still his best film in my opinion, Sixth Sense, and every Split.
Yeah,
you have like, you know,
The Village.
You have Signs, The Village. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with Signs really. Like, I just think the whole is so stupid, that film.
Oh, you mean we're weak against water, yet we went to Earth.
We went to a planet that's 90% water.
Yeah,
you know, and
we didn't study as well. It's like the War of the Worlds twist.
Happening. My God, The Happening. That's
fuck. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know what you mean. But yeah, I mean when he has time to flesh out as a director, as the example of this is, yeah, he's in his element. Hey, Beer Jesus, how's it going?
So yeah, I mean, who's your favorite director? Should we get into this?
I couldn't really tell you off the top of my head, to be honest. I like Ridley Scott. I love his the overtones he has.
So like Blade Runner and shit like that. I've still never seen Blade Runner.
Christopher Nolan used to be, but I think there's only so far you can go with these mind screw ups and things.
Oh no, he's up there for me.
He's really good. He's really good storyteller, and
I love Memento. I love The Prestige, Inception. They're all class films, you know.
Yeah. What's the name of the director from 1917 as well?
Oh, Sam Mendes.
Yeah.
He's really good. Yeah, Sam
Scorsese,
Mendes.
Scorsese as well. I like Martin Scorsese.
Sam Mendes is he directed American Beauty. He directed Skyfall. I want to say
Mm,
Bond film.
yeah, and there's a reason that is one of the best James Bond films.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
It's
Skyfall.
fantastic.
For me, I mean Tarantino's always probably going to be number one for me.
Mm.
I think just he is one of the last remaining proper auteurs, you know,
Yeah.
of the business. And it's such a shame that he's got one more film left and before he calls it quits. You know, I'm hoping it's going to be a good, because I really loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well. I thought I don't think it was his best film, but I'm just super entertained by everything he does. You know.
Yeah, I just have Inglorious Bastards sitting on Amazon Prime all the time, and I just need to find the time to watch it.
We got Beer Jesus saying Kubrick or Argento. Nice, good shouts. I do like a bit of Kubrick. Full Metal Jacket is just a classic, you know.
Yeah, Spielberg's an interesting one because when it comes to fantasy and making things look as fantastic on screen, he does wonders with that. Even in like War of the Worlds, you know, it just sends shivers when you see for the first time they kill someone in that film. So when it comes to playing the big screen, and he also saved George Lucas from the third Indiana Jones film as well from being awful.
It's weird, isn't it? Spielberg, he's got this reputation now of being a kind of he can make great movies for all ages and sort of thing. He's got some really dark movies and like Poltergeist. You know, he wrote, was it, or did the screenplay for?
Yeah,
he didn't. I don't think he directed it, but he had a bit of a hand in that.
Yeah,
Jaws, yeah, Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is one of my favorite films ever. It's just brilliant. It's so much more than the opening sequence as well. I think, you know, everyone goes on about the opening sequence being the best part of the film, which it is, you know.
Yeah.
But they seem to just ignore the rest of the films and like how captivating the performances are from the leads, you know.
Yeah, who else? Peter Jackson's another good one. He likes to flash out his movies pretty well. I think like the Hobbit.
I went to the world premiere of Mortal Engines.
Did you?
Yeah, which Peter Jackson didn't direct, but he was like executive producer, or he had a hand in it or something. And he was there, like taking a Q&A from I think it was what's his name? The guy that always does covers the premieres. Alex Zane.
Alex Zane. I thought he was gonna
Yeah, he was there. Also, Hugo Weaving was there, like right in front of us. Like we basically they had a cast and crew screening in like one part of the cinema, and then the other half of the cinema was us, like with our free comps and stuff for working on the film. Because I work in film trailers, and we get free comps sometimes, which is really cool. Got to go to the premiere. Saying the movie was a bit average, you know, but I do like a bit of Peter Jackson. Lord of the Rings. I mean, how can you go wrong? I actually really liked his King Kong remake as well. Not many people gave that movie the time of day, but
oh no, I love that. Like, let's not talk about the scene with the bugs, but besides from that, yeah, it sends you on. Like, are you a bit
arachnophobic or whatever?
No, it's not the arachnophobia. It's those fucking worm things that creep me out.
Oh yeah, well, but again, Weta, like, love that post-production house, you know, and all their creature effects and stuff. Brilliant. Rick Baker, you know, I could go to town on, like, you know, SFX and stuff.
Yeah,
you know, people. Sam Raimi, love a bit of Sam Raimi. Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
the original Spider-Man trilogy, you know.
Aliens is probably one of my favorites from
I've
James
actually
Cameron
still never seen Spider-Man 3, but you know, from the way everyone goes on about it, I don't know if I'll bother.
The problem was, I don't think that was Sam Raimi's fault, because the studio was wanting Venom in the movie, and Sam was saying, I don't know much about Venom, I can't relate to him, so I can't really put him on screen, so we had to find some way of putting him on there, because it was just supposed to be about Sandman. And then that's what led to like the cancellation of the fourth film and his
Yeah.
disbandment from the company, from Sony.
Robert Rodriguez, that's an interesting shout, David. I haven't seen many of his movies. I know he did. Didn't he do Spy Kids? The
That's
Spy
where
Kids
I
franchise.
remember that name from. Did he do?
Yeah, and he also did From Dusk Till Dawn, of course, which is great. And obviously Tarantino had a hand in that as well. Him and the Planet Terror / Death Proof double feature. Again, it's the homages and the kind of nods to classic exploitation that I love sometimes with Tarantino. The Coen brothers, I think, is the other one that the other directing duo that I really love. They have such great movies under their belt: Fargo, Big Lebowski, Miller's Crossing, A Serious Man. What's the other one I'm forgetting? Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Just brilliant.
I would say as well, like even ones like OGs like Alfred Hitchcock, and I think like still to this day I feel like Rope is an absolute masterpiece. Just because
I've never seen Rope. I know that it's all one shot, right? Like
all
1917.
one shot, yeah. But it's like 1917 has clever cuts, whereas Rope I think is just all
It's
in
actually all one shot.
Yeah,
that's quite impressive. I'm surprised we never watched that because we did dabble in a bit of Hitchcock at uni. We had a whole module on him where we covered. We did Vertigo as one of our exams. Yeah, and we watched North by Northwest, Psycho. All those. I mean, he really was quite ahead of his time, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, Russo brothers. I love how Russo brothers put a great end onto the later Avenger films. They just. The way I think that's probably one of my favorite shots in movie history is that scene when they're all coming out of the portals in Endgame. It's just so many goosebumps.
Oh, dude, David, Burn After Reading, that is a brilliant film.
Yeah,
that's so underrated, and yes, I think it's one of the Coen brothers' best personally. Also, Shane Black might be an outside shout. I really like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Quite liked Iron Man 3 as well.
Do you know what?
He hasn't done many films, but his screenplays are brilliant.
Do you know, actually, one we haven't mentioned yet, Edgar Wright.
And yes.
And it's not just because of the Cornetto trilogy, like, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim.
Still not seen Baby Driver. It's on my list.
It's fantastic. I love it so much. Like, it's just the way that his pacing is really what gets it for me. Like how and the like in Scott Pilgrim and stuff, how he added something extra to it with the editing and things. It just brings it all together. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean we could go on and on and on about directors and stuff like that. Who else is up there for me? Like, I think we've pretty much covered all the bases. I think that really. Nice cup, by the way.
You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you for showing me your cup.
Oh, James Cameron.
That's what I'm saying about Aliens. Yeah.
Well, the thing is about James Cameron, he's got some good movies, but then again, he's directed some of my most hated movies,
like Avatar,
Titanic. I just can't stand those films. But for every one of those, there's a Terminator 2, there's an Aliens.
Raising the bar.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of hit and miss,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what, Murray, man? World's End is... People kind of give that movie stick because it's not as good as, like, Hot Fuzz or Shaun the Dead, but I enjoyed World's End. I think it's definitely the darkest of the Cornetto trilogy, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I think the story is based around this guy who doesn't really want to grow up.
And exactly. It tapped into something when I watched it.
And it's nice because in the films, normally Nick Frost's character is supposed to be like the stooge character or the dumb one, whereas it turns the tables and Nick Frost's actually a smart character in this.
Yeah,
so I love that change of pace.
He's one of the level-headed ones. Really, it's quite depressing. Really, it really elicited a emotional response from me when I was watching that. As it was very funny. as well, but also quite depressing, the subject
Yeah.
matter. But he does that balance beautifully in that
I
film.
think as well, maybe what people didn't like as much about World's End compared to the other two was that it kind of was a bit more slapstick in its humor compared to the other two. Like it was a lot of the other two were more like sort of putting in situations that add up together, like callbacks and things like that.
I mean, Hot Fuzz is just a sensational.
It's
film.
brilliant.
That's probably my favorite comedy film, if push comes to shove.
If
Yeah,
you,
it's so quotable. Remember, we were. I don't know if you were in the tent with me, KB, but in the cinema tent at Download, they showed that film.
fuck off, grasshopper.
Yeah, and just everybody was quoting lines along to it. It was,
Yeah.
and it still holds up. Like I never get tired of watching it. Every time I watch it, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, Murray, man, that's an interesting shout.
Yeah.
A lot of people, J.J. Abrams ruined the Star Wars new trilogy.
I think
I can't really comment, but
it's that stereotype of the lens flare, isn't it? And you've seen like loads of movies, and if on YouTube, loads of trailers, and if it was directed by J.J. Abrams, and they just add a lens flare effect.
Yeah,
Imagine
absolutely.
imagine a great train robbery with a lens flare.